Well, I want to welcome everybody to the January 9th, 2018 Board of Commissioners meeting, and I want to wish everybody a Happy New Year. There are some that are more happy this year today than others, but I'll just leave it at that. Commissioner Weatherford. So with that, we have Pastor Ben McLeod from the Eastside Brazilian Church to lead us in our invocation today, and then Officer Xavier Wilson will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So those that are willing and able to stand, please do so.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. God, I just thank you for this Board of Commissioners and how you have commissioned them to speak life into this community. God, I pray that this morning as we come together, that you give wisdom to these men and women that sit on this board. But God, also the other people who are amongst us this morning, God, we just pray that everything that we say and do would be honoring and glorifying to you. Pray that as the days ahead that you would continue to keep your hand on Cobb County, that as decisions are made that happen in this room that affect many lives outside of it, God, I pray that you would continue to keep us in line with you. And I just ask all these things in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Yeah, thank you both for leading out this program this morning. Okay, so today we're going to start with public hearing, tab 1. So Steve, there you go.
Good morning. Before you today to ask for public hearings for 3 of our upcoming projects. The first is for FY19 Northeast Cobb miscellaneous water main replacements. These public hearings are held because the fees are expected to be in excess of $100,000.
Mr. Ott, you want to take this one, or?
Well, it's just a public hearing.
Right, I just want to say, there's a comment about you. Want to make a comment or not? We're good? Okay, we're good. All right, so the usual apply. Everyone gets 3 minutes to talk, and there's no limit to the number of people who want to talk to this issue. So with that, I'll now open up this public hearing for the consultant services for a project for the Northeast Cobb miscellaneous water main replacement program. And with that, does anyone like to address this issue? Would anyone like to address this issue? Okay, seeing none, I now declare this public hearing to a close.
Second is a request for public hearing for FY19 West Cobb miscellaneous water main replacements.
Okay, and again, just for clarity, everyone has 3 minutes to talk, and there are no restrictions on the number of people who can talk. So with that, I now open up this public hearing on the West Cobb miscellaneous water main replacement program. Would anyone like to address this issue? Would anyone like to address this issue? Seeing none, I now declare this public hearing to a close.
And finally, the FY19 South Cobb miscellaneous water main replacement program.
Okay, and then, again, the guidelines are 3 minutes for anyone who'd like to talk. No restriction on the number of people who'd like to talk. And with that, now I will declare this public hearing open for the South Cobb miscellaneous water main replacement program. Would anyone like to address this program? Would anyone like to address this program? See none, I now declare this public hearing to a close.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Steve. Okay. We're going to tab 2, which is public comment. And how many speakers do we have today?
There are 3.
Okay. So again, you have 5 minutes to address the board, and just who's the first one, Deborah?
Pat Burns, if you
Okay.
come forward.
So Pat, welcome back to the dais.
Good morning. My name is Pat Burns. I live in the Miller's house beside the renovated covered bridge. Sometimes when I'm weeding and surrounded by daffodils, poison ivy, and mosquitoes, I often dig up a shard of glass from a long ago broken plate or cup. It's a reminder of where I live, where I love, and where I raised my children. Living in the Miller's house is a responsibility I've taken seriously for 30 years. Here slaves once walked and toiled. Slaves probably built my house, the mill, and 40-year-old Matilda Ruff in 1860 was my cook. She cleaned my house along with her young daughters, Yoda and Yeda. Well, 19-year-old Calvin worked the grist mill where my bike is now stored. Imagine the political climate of today, micro-focused in the year 1864. In July 1864, poor young Southern scared man boys were in retreat, stopping to fight in my yard, in my woods, in Jim McCutcheon's rock house, in his woods, stopping to wash in his mill pond behind the dam, then hunkering down using the weapons of the day. Poorly fed, poorly educated, but ready to fight. Chasing them were Union man boys, a mirror image, no better fed, no better dressed, no better educated, and just as hot and tired. They came down Concord Road from Hurt Road, crossed over Nickajack Creek, also sweeping through my woods, my mill, my pantry, my yard. Moving up through the rock house, its pantry, its kitchens, its shed, and barn. They burned the woolen mill in the woods and moved on to Smyrna. That is the Battle of Ruff's Mill. From my porch swing, I gaze enviously at the rock house across the road with its crafted windows and marvel at its stacked stones. Cars rumble across the covered bridge, and at rush hours they stack up between the two single-lane bridges, the Silver Comet Trail Bridge and the covered bridge. This is the heart of the historic district. Its view shed has been unchanged for over 100 years. But the past is just that. We have no witnesses for the slaves, their quarters, or where their bones lie. No one alive weeps for them. No one alive still mourns two babies and their mother who died in my house and are buried in the nearby Ruff Cemetery. We have no one who fears or swears at those sweating soldiers, stealing, begging, foraging for food. What do we have? What do we have? We have a living, breathing sliver of history preserved in the heart of the historic district. To debase the heart of the historic district by inserting a 4,000 square foot contemporary home is not following in the best steps of preservation, nor does it acknowledge the past, the soldiers who ran by, the slaves who worked the soil, or the babies that died. Inserting into this heritage mere symbolic walls, plate glass picture windows with massive curved roof lines destroys those soldiers carrying weapons for the most dangerous game. You and I pass on the values of heritage. We pass on the stories of the heart of the historic district. Preservationists rely on the Secretary of the Interior's standards for rehabilitation. This sets guidelines for historic districts and advises historic preservation commissions. The standard states it's not recommended introducing new buildings or landscape features that are out of scale or otherwise inappropriate to the setting of a historic character. Let me repeat that. It's not recommended introducing new buildings or landscape features that are out of scale or otherwise inappropriate to the settings of a historic character. Therefore, friends of the Covered Bridge Historic District carry forward in persistent preservation, hoping that we might in the future be awarded a place on the most prestigious National Register of Historic Sites. But I fear a COA allowing massive change will prohibit this most prestigious preservation honor. I fear the insertion of a multiple-story new structure out of scale and inappropriate to the settings of a historic character will tear apart the meaning of our historic district. The Concord Covered Bridge Historic District, our Cobb County's first historic district.
Thank you, Pat. Could you make sure that the county clerk gets a copy of that? And I'd like to make sure you put that into the record. That is a very eloquent statement, and I would hope that the media would take note of that statement also. But it was very eloquent.
The next speaker is David Birkenbein, if you come forward.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Board of Commissioners,
Morning,
County
David.
Manager David Birkenbein, Medical Burn Ban. Happy New Year. I have here coming up on the screen, this is not a one district problem. This is 4-district problem. There's 45 medical burn bans in Cobb County, so we each have 11 pretty much, or 11 and a quarter people. I received yesterday in the mail this letter, which y'all are supposed to have. I'm not even going to answer it. This is your standard reply, and this is a standard attitude on a medical burn ban. I would take this letter and read with discernment with it and the law when you decide what is going to be done on this ordinance that's coming up. Along with it, I would like to see the medical burn ban application go back to not being biased to where it states a county ordinance on yard debris and stuff like that. Because just like I said before, people are gonna look at it and say, well, what's the difference? Why am I gonna even have a medical burn ban if they're still gonna do this? But one thing stands out, I'm sorry, in the letter, and I'm trying to stay away from it. The medical burn ban was put in place for people with medical conditions, the way I understand it, affected by smoke, as it says on the application. If they're affected, why is this letter so arrogant that they're telling me on what's going to affect me and what's not going to affect me? What's going to affect you and what's not going to affect you? This is the ingrained mentality that I've been fighting since 2015. And even in here, Mr. Chairman, when we had that June meeting where 911 was going to have the list, it's not even in how they handle 911 calls for medical problems. So I don't know what happened to it. It's just, everything is hither and yon. We just pick what we want to do. And I hope we come to a consensus on changing this medical burn ban or enforcing this medical burn ban and getting some of these ordinances in place to help the people, not hinder the people. In the letter it states, well, people spend a lot of money on their fireplaces. Well, people with medical burn ban have lots of medical bills. They're spending money too. They're just not out here getting a free ride. They're not out here just trying to make somebody's life miserable. Sure, you have neighbors, you have good neighbors, you have bad neighbors. I've heard stories, but they won't come in and talk. It aggravates me so bad that they won't come in and talk. I have one supporter, and she got her medical burn ban last month. I have another supporter I emailed Commissioner Cupid on. And these people have the same story I'm telling. And that one person that emailed you, Mr. Chairman, she had the same story I'm telling. So, I'm not up here telling people stories. I'm up here trying to solve a problem. Mr. Ott said, people come up to speak in front of the board are bringing up problems because we can't be everywhere. Well, when you put out a letter like this, then you need to be everywhere, because this here is totally inappropriate as far as I'm concerned, and it does not address the problem, and it really aggravates me. So y'all have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Anna Reeves McCutcheon.
Good morning. I'm here to talk about the pending appeal for the Davidson structure in Smyrna, Georgia. I live in the Rock House across the street from the covered bridge. As a preface to my statement, I just want to make it very clear that I am speaking on behalf of myself and that none of my family members asked me to submit a statement. This is something that I wrote a few weeks ago at college at Stanford University in the midst of my final exams. Preserving the historical characteristics of the community that I have grown up in carries ample importance to me. It is my pleasure and my duty to fight alongside my family and neighbors against a structure that would tarnish the essence of the community that I grew up in. To be frank, I think it would be a shame if our district could persevere Sherman's warfare, but not the warfare of an applicant willing to dismantle the historical lifeblood of an entire community for a blocked covered bridge. I may not be studying architecture, but it does not take a degree to look at the applicant's floor plans and realize that it is not a home that adds any historical value to our division. It is my plea to the commissioners to recognize the very obvious structural differences between the submission and the houses surrounding. In all due respect to the committee, if the word preservation holds any importance, please recognize the irony of approving and building a modern house in our historical division. It's just the juxtaposition of the new with the old that takes the historical beauty straight out of context. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going on to tab 3 now, which is consent agenda. And I'll let everybody have a chance to take a look at the items on the consent agenda before I make the motion. They're not speed readers. So just sort of slow it down a little bit. Okay, everybody get a chance to read that? Okay, no problem? All right. With that, I move to approve the consent agenda and authorize the execution of the necessary documents by the appropriate county personnel. Second. Second. Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0. Thank you. All right. Going on to tab 4 now. And we welcome Mr. Wilgus back to start off the year with his
Good morning,
long list
Chairman,
of projects.
Commissioners, Mr. County Manager. We have 7 items this morning. The first item is approved change order number 1 final to the contract with Glosson Enterprises LLC for Hurt Road Sidewalk. Hurt Road Sidewalk is an approved project in the sidewalks component of the 2005 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Program. Construction is complete, and change order number 1 final to the contract with Glosson Enterprises LLC, a savings to the project in the amount of $82,871.08 is requested due to variations between the original and final quantities. We request the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 1 final to the contract with Glosson Enterprises LLC, a savings to the project in the amount of $82,871.08 for Hurt Road Sidewalk.
Mr. Cupid.
So moved.
Second. Have a second. Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0.
Thank you, sir. Item number 2 is to approve change order number 1 final to the contract with Glosson Enterprises LLC for Piedmont Road West Sidewalk. Sidewalks is an approved component in the 2011 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Program. Construction of the project is complete, and change order number 1 final to the contract with Glosson Enterprises LLC, a savings to the project in the amount of $25,700.60 is requested due to variations between the original and final plan quantities. We request the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 1 final to the contract with Glosson Enterprises LLC, a savings to the project in the amount of $25,700.60 for Piedmont Road West Sidewalk.
Commissioner Burrow.
Thank you. Motion to approve?
You have a second? Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0.
Thank you, sir. Item number 3 is to approve change order number 1 final to the contract with Chatfield Contracting, Inc. for drainage system improvements on Burlington Court. Drainage system improvements is an approved component in the 2016 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Program. Construction of the project is complete, and change order number 1 final to the contract with Chatfield Contracting, Inc. A savings to the project in the amount of $25,342.22 is requested due to variation between the original and final plan quantities. We request the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 1 final to the contract with Chatfield Contracting, Inc., a savings to the project in the amount of $25,342.22 for drainage system improvements on Burlington Court.
Commissioner Burrow.
Motion to approve, and thanks for the additional savings here.
You have a second? Any discussion? Call the question.
Thank you, sir. Item number 4 is to approve supplemental agreement number 1 to the design-build contract with Baldwin Paving Company, Inc. for I-75 at Wade Green Road to Virgin Diamond Interchange. I-75 at Wade Green Road to Virgin Diamond Interchange, DDI, is an approved project in the thoroughfare improvements component of the 2011 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Program. This project is designated as state PI number 0011657. The items that have been identified for inclusion in the Wade Green DDI project and the supplemental agreement to the contract with Baldwin is requested for the following. Number 1, in the original request for proposal for this design-build project, certain bridge maintenance items were identified to bidders based on the July 17, 2013 GDOT Bridge Condition Survey. After the contract award, the GDOT Bridge Officer conducted a new bridge condition survey and found that additional maintenance items will be required for this bridge. As a result, the department proposes to include these additional maintenance items within the scope of Baldwin's work in an amount not to exceed $161,749.90. Number 2, the projected plan specified installation of overhead fiber cable within the project limits. At the request of the department's Traffic Operations Division, the overhead fiber optic cable to be located from the southwest corner of the I-75 northbound exit ramp and extending eastward approximately 650 feet would be alternately installed underground. The additional cost of the alternate installation is proposed at $9,886.96. Number 3, the original project design specified installation of grass medians and traffic islands within the project limits. In an effort to reduce future maintenance costs, the department recommends the installation of synthetic turf within the medians and traffic islands in an amount not to exceed $159,764.61. Number 4, extension of the contract completion date through March 31st, 2018 to allow for completion of the additional work. We request the Board of Commissioners approve supplemental agreement number 1 to the design-build contract with Baldwin Paving Company, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $331,401.47 for I-75 at Wade Green Road to Virgin Diamond Interchange.
Commissioner Burrow.
Yes. Jim,
Yes, ma'am.
the additional costs here, did we get costs on the synthetic turf and the brick pavers?
Yes.
And,
Well, not brick
I haven't-
pavers, it was stamped concrete.
okay. But I wasn't aware of the cost difference on that.
Yes, ma'am, it will cost us more to put the synthetic turf in there than the stamped concrete for this one.
Okay, well, is that definite, or can we change that? I prefer the stamped concrete anyway over the synthetic turf, and if it's cheaper, I'd rather put that in.
Okay, we can, all right, we'll take a look at that.
So that number will come down?
Right, because it'll be less That's her argument.
Well, I like the looks of it better anyway, too, but, I know I asked you to consider and look at the difference in price and for the synthetic turf, but,
Yes, ma'am.
also the option of the stamped concrete.
Well, you can make a motion.
I've heard a lot
revise.
of positive, feedback on the efficiency and effectiveness of the diverging diamond interchange at Wade
been a good
Green,
project
so
so
I know
far.
it's working well. So I guess before we put that in, can you, do we have to
You
vote
can
on
make
that
a
as a
motion to
board, or I can-
revise, make a motion to revise the motion here, the agenda item, to state what you want to do with it.
Okay. I'd like to see the stamped concrete and the price difference,
Okay,
rather than just agreeing on the synthetic turf.
okay.
So I would make a motion to approve, agenda item number 4 with, the cost difference in synthetic turf and stamped concrete coming back to the district commissioner for approval. Can I do that?
That's a good question. Deborah,
Can I do that, Deborah?
because it involves a cost. I think, I think the best you can do is you can make a revision to include the stamp material vice the synthetic turf, but I don't know that you can make a motion
To leave it
to
open?
leave it open. Unless you
Okay,
take
then-
it out, unless you take it out of the agenda item.
It would be just
I mean, bring it back later to the board for approval.
amend item number 3 to include stamped concrete not to exceed that price, and let the district commissioner take a look at it.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay,
Okay, yeah, there you go. Okay,
so I make a motion to approve agenda item number 4 with revisions to the synthetic turf versus, approving stamped concrete not to exceed the additional costs, and to come back to me before final.
okay, so we have a second?
Like second, with the exception, I'd like to add, ask her to add item number 3 is the one we're discussing, so make sure we have item number 3 for the record. That's what will be modified. Is that correct, Mr.
No,
Williams?
we're on number 4.
Item number 3, the original.
But
It's with
I
the
don't.
paragraph.
Oh, within 4, I got you,
Paragraph
got you,
number
right,
4.
okay, I'm sorry, yeah, right. Okay,
Then I'll say-
yeah, not to exceed the 159, but it'll be less. Okay,
I'm supportive of it, Commissioner. However, with the modification, instead of saying versus, just say in favor of
Okay.
the stamped concrete versus the turf. So it's
I'm
clear
just not
as-
really sure what we're trying to accomplish with the motion. If you want stamped concrete, just say you want stamped concrete. We already know it's going to be less. So, I mean, it's really kind of putting DOT through an exercise that we already know that the stamped concrete's going to be less.
Right.
And if you don't want
okay,
to spend the
one
money
more
for the
time, I'll
grass.
revise my motion. I would like to make a motion to approve agenda item 4, to revise paragraph number 3, to approve stamped concrete in lieu of
Say that.
synthetic turf, with a amount not to exceed 159,764.61.
okay. We have a second on that one?
Second.
We have a second, okay. Now we can, into further discussion?
Yeah, I may want synthetic turf on my side.
Now,
Be
All right,
nice.
okay.
Be nice.
All
Start
right.
the new year out right, Mr.
Okay,
Weatherford, all right?
Second.
that would look tacky.
Well, that would be a statement. All right.
Your next project, you can have synthetic turf.
Any further discussion? I call the question. Passes
Thank you,
five.
W.
Jeez.
Thank you, sir. Item number 5 is to authorize an amendment to an action previously approved regarding the November 28, 2017 approval of a contract with Chatfield Contracting, Inc. to revise the funding for the drainage system repairs on Rustic Drive. Bid tabulations consisted of $106,117.50 in roadway cost and $30,000 in water system cost. It has been identified that the water system funding was inadvertently omitted from the funding statement in the original agenda item. Therefore, the funding for this project needs to be revised. We request the Board of Commissioners authorize an amendment to the previously adopted action regarding the November 28, 2017 approval of a contract with Chatfield Contracting, Inc. to revise the funding for drainage system repairs on Rustic Drive.
Commissioner Cupid,
So moved.
we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0.
Thank you, sir. Item number 6 is to approve a utility relocation agreement with Georgia Power Company for preliminary engineering and relocation of facilities on Post Oak Tritt at Hembry Road. Post Oak Tritt at Hembry Road is an approved intersection improvements project in the 2016 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Program. Construction of this project will require Georgia Power Company to remove and relocate their existing facilities. Since the facilities may be located on Georgia Power Company's easement, the cost for the relocation in the amount not to exceed $13,865 may be reimbursable by Cobb County. We request the Board of Commissioners approve a utility relocation agreement with Georgia Power Company in the amount not to exceed $13,865 for preliminary engineering and relocation of facilities on Post Oak Tritt at Hembry Road.
Hold on one second, Jim.
Yes, sir.
Well, I think Hembry Road is our divider there, Post Oak Tritt. Commissioner Wright has the east side and I have the west side,
I believe that's correct, ma'am.
so this should be a 3 and 2 right.
I'll let
it's
you make
identified
the
on the map,
motion,
I'm
and then
sorry.
Commissioner Rock can second it. As long as you don't want to have stamped concrete and
No,
synthetic grass on both sides of the
Well,
road.
there'll be stamped pavement in the roundabout, sir. Maybe. Go ahead. Yeah, come on.
Since you
But
started?
he hasn't finished the
Bob's want turf.
description
All
here.
right, so, I'm sorry, Jim. Are we ready for the motion?
Yes, sir.
That's what I thought. All right, so Commissioner Burrow, it's your call.
Okay, I'd first like to preface this with, this has been a long time coming.
It has been.
When I first took office, a lot of residents in the area, Post Oak Tritt and in the Wynwood subdivision, asked for a traffic light, a signal at this location, and it's never been warranted. And this is very heavily traveled with Pope High School right down Hembry Road. And I'm glad to see this coming through on this SPLOST. So I would make a motion to approve agenda item number 6.
We have a second. Any discussion? I just want you to know that is my favorite route to my favorite restaurant in Cobb County, Judy's, so. That's right, that's true. So I just want to make that comment for the record. Call the question. Passes 5-0.
Thank you, sir. Our final item is to authorize the deletion of 1 district maintenance supervisor position, grade 21, and authorize the creation of 3 crew worker positions, grade 6, to support the road maintenance division's required daily maintenance services, daily maintenance activities. The road maintenance division maintains, cleans, repairs of the county's roadways systems to ensure safe driving conditions for the public. A district maintenance supervisor position within road maintenance has become vacant as of January 2nd, 2018, due to the retirement of the incumbent. The department has evaluated the current staffing levels and recommends the deletion of this position and subsequent creation of 3 new crew worker positions to supplement existing crews. The additional crew staff will facilitate addressing the work order backlog and improve overall service provided to the citizens. We request the Board of Commissioners authorize the deletion of 1 district maintenance supervisor position, grade 21, effective January 2nd, 2018, and authorize the creation of 2 crew worker positions, grade 6, effective January 2nd, 2018, to support the road maintenance division's required daily maintenance activities, and further authorize the creation of 1 crew worker position, grade 6, effective April 9th, 2018.
Commissioner Ott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to commend Jim, you and your staff for, when we sit here and talk about all the budget issues we have, of coming up with a way to use a vacant position to create 3 new positions that'll be able to create better service. So motion to approve.
Thanks, sir.
Second, and I would also like to join Commissioner Ott in commending you and your staff for that. Appreciate that. I'll call the question. Passes. There you go, 5-0. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, tab 5.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Manager. Our first item this morning is for the board to approve a final closeout supplemental agreement and change order number 1 to the contract with Crofton Associates for professional services associated with the redevelopment of Powder Springs Park under the 2011 Park Splosh program. All architectural and engineering services associated with this contract have been satisfactorily completed. So therefore, we ask the board to approve final closeout supplemental agreement and deductive change order number 1 to the contract with Crofton Associates with a credit of $6,000 for design services at Powder Springs Park under the 2011 Park Splosh program.
Commissioner Cupid,
So moved.
we have a second. Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0.
Our next item this morning is for the board to approve a contract with Integrated Construction and Nobility Incorporated for improvements at Leona Hall Price Park under the 2016 Park Splosh program. Proposed improvements to Price Park include an additional entrance off of Stilesboro Road and the conversion of the small gravel parking lot into a paved and striped lot. A small restroom structure with an attached pavilion will also be added. These improvements will greatly enhance the usability of the park for our users. Therefore, we ask the board to approve a contract with Integrated Construction and Nobility Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $448,832.61 for construction improvements at Leon Hall Price Park under the 2016 Park Splosh program.
Commissioner Weatherford,
Motion to approve as presented, sir.
Second.
have a second. Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0.
Our next item is for the board to approve a final closeout supplemental agreement and change order number 1 to the contract with Horizon Roofing for the replacement of the roof and gutter system at the Mountain View Community Center under the 2016 Park Splosh program. All construction services associated with this contract have been satisfactorily completed, and the new roof now carries a 20-year no-leak warranty with it. Therefore, we ask the Board of Commissioners to approve final closeout supplemental agreement and deductive change order number 1 to the contract with Horizon Roofing with a credit of $4,969 for the roof and gutter system replacement at the Mountain View Community Center under the 2016 Park Splosh program.
Commissioner Burrow,
Motion to approve.
we have a second. Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0.
Our next item is for the board to approve a final closeout supplemental agreement and change order number 1 to the contract with 5 Seasons Mechanical for the replacement of the HVAC system at the Mountain View Community Center under the 2016 Park Splosh program. All construction services associated with this contract have been satisfactorily completed, and our new system will definitely increase the energy efficiency of the building while increasing the patrons' comfort as they attend events. Therefore, we ask the Board of Commissioners to approve final closeout supplemental agreement and deductive change order number 1 to the contract with 5 Seasons Mechanical with a credit of $5,000 to replace the HVAC system at Mountain View Community Center under the 2016 Park Splosh program.
Commissioner Burrow,
Yes. New and improved Mountain View Community Center.
Absolutely.
And with the savings on both. So motion to approve.
we have a second. Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0.
Our final item this morning is for the board to approve the continuation of the current contract with Bartow Paving Company for the resurfacing of parking lots and access roadways at additional parks under the 2011 and 2016 Park Splosh programs. The board previously approved a contract with Bartow Paving Company for the resurfacing of parking lots and access roadways in 15 parks that were in the worst condition. Due to favorable unit pricing and other cost-saving measures, sufficient funding is available within the contract to address the next tier of parks that you will find in the agenda item. Therefore, we ask the Board of Commissioners to approve continuation of the contract with Bartow Paving Company to resurface identified parking lots and access roadways in Cobb County parks until all previously approved funding is exhausted under the 2011 and 2016 Park Splosh programs.
Commissioner Weatherford,
Motion to approve as presented.
we have a second. Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0. Thanks, Jimmy. Okay, tab 6, property management. Hey, Scott. Well,
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, County Manager. Property has one item to approve supplement agreement number 1 to the contract with Max Air Mechanical Incorporated for additional plumbing at Magistrate Court. The Magistrate Court renovation is an eligible capital improvement program under the 2016 SPLOST. The funding is available in the 2016 SPLOST project budget. The Board of Commissioners approved supplement agreement number 1 to the contract with Max Air Mechanical Incorporated in the amount of $48,732 for additional plumbing systems installation at the Magistrate Court located at 32 Waddell Street, Marietta, a 2011 and 2016 SPLOST project. Authorize the corresponding budget transactions and further authorize the chairman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Burrow.
Motion to approve.
Have a second? Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0.
Thank you, sir.
Then we have Mr. Curtis from Fleet Management.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, County Manager. Fleet has one item today. They authorized the purchase of 6 replacement vehicle lifts for the car shop. A Fleet Management car shop has 6 35-year-old in-ground lifts. These lifts are used daily. Age and excessive use of these lifts combined with the higher weights of vehicles is causing these lifts to fail. This year, we've had 2 failures on one lift, causing a vehicle to come off the actual lift. This lift is still inoperable. This one lift has created immediate negative impact on the productivity of the shop. It's not known when the next lift will actually fail. Continued use of the lifts would create an unsafe working environment for our employees in the car shop. A new Fleet car shop service facility is a component of the 2016 SPLOST. New lifts will be needed for this facility upon completion. At this time, due to the safety concerns of the continued operation of the existing equipment, we request the approval to proceed with replacement of these lifts immediately. The 6 lifts will be relocated to the new facility when it's actually completed with minimum issues. Fleet Management recommends that the Board of Commissioners authorize the purchase of the 6 replacement lifts for the Fleet car shop in the amount of $34,086. Authorize the appropriation of risk fund balance transfers to the 2016 SPLOST fund in the amount of $6,184. Authorize the corresponding budget transactions and further authorize the chairman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Ott.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a second?
With,
Hands and comments? Yes?
just a
please.
comment.
Sure.
I know you've answered the questions we had, but I think for the public, they need to know that this is a safety issue and why we're replacing them now, and then we'll have to relocate them when the new building is ready.
That is correct.
And it's minimal cost to relocate. Thank you.
Yeah, the minimum cost basically is 4 boats to just dismount the lifts, each one, and move them to the actual next location. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Al. Okay, tab 7, and Ms. Davidson.
Good morning, Chairman, County Commissioners, County Manager. We have one item, which is to approve the purchase of additional equipment and installation services associated with the addition of the Camp Highlands Public Safety Tower site for the 800 megahertz radio system using 2016 SPLOST program funds, Program X1011. On June 27th, the board approved the purchase of the hardware, engineering, and installation services for the first tower located at 4900 Camp Highlands Road, Smyrna. Additional equipment and installation services for security at the site are required to complete the project. These items were not included as part of the original contract. Total cost of the additional equipment and installation is $9,729.23. The tower site is an eligible project program under the 2016 SPLOST. We would ask that the Board of Commissioners approve the request of additional equipment as listed in the sum of $9,729.23 $722.23 for the 800 megahertz system, authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Weatherford.
Thank you. Quick question. These costs weren't included in the original one. The next one we do, we'll include it in there, or did we just miss this? Why these weren't in there?
Okay, once the actual tower is near completion, and so once the tower is actually completed, then these will be ongoing costs for us to monitor the fuel systems and the security.
I understand that, but we didn't include that in the original contract. Can we include it in the next one? I know we're going to build one up in the north part of the county.
The next contract, we're going to make sure that things are a little more itemized.
That's
I would
what
say
I'm
there's room for
referring to.
improvement of that. Yes, sir.
Okay. Motion to approve as presented.
Second. Call the question. Passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, and County Manager. I'm here today to ask the board to authorize a name change from Cobb County Animal Control to Cobb County Animal Services. Animal Control has had that name for several years. It does imply that it's more of an enforcement with the animals, but there are various other programs that they do, such as rescue and adoptions and community affairs. And we feel like this name would be more pleasant and also represent more of what they actually do. So there is no additional cost for this at this time. Any changes that are made with the uniforms and decals on the vehicles will be done through attrition as new uniforms and stuff are ordered. And therefore, asking the board to authorize the name change from Cobb County Animal Control to Cobb County Animal Services, and further authorize the chairman to execute necessary documents.
Commissioner Weatherford.
Thank you, and I totally agree. Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
I just have one question, Sam.
Yes, sir.
Why? We have to actually go down to the level of, you have to come back to the board to get approval to change the sign?
Well, what we're looking at, there's been some recommendations from the Animal Control Advisory Board to put new signage in front of that building.
Right.
And when we get to that point, yes, sir, we'll probably come forth, because I've talked to the county manager and about the signage.
What's it gonna, is it gonna launch fireworks or something? I mean.
No, sir, but they do want one that would be somewhat electronic and be able to
Okay.
advertise certain things.
So why don't you just put it in your budget? Animal services.
Well, we're looking to pay for it out of some of the donation funds. that
Oh,
we
I
have.
see.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
all right, thank you. All right. Now I get it.
Okay.
So any other discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Okay, tab 8. I don't see my friends with the cups here. I just. Okay, I just want to make sure. I'm sorry, Pat. I just
Not a
want
problem.
I want to make sure you had your support crew behind you on this one.
Whatever it takes. Chairman, Commissioners, good morning. We have two items on the agenda today. The first one is to ratify the action of the board taken in executive session, authorizing an agreement to purchase and sale with Hidden Haven, Inc. for the acquisition of property located at 9 Anderson Road for a public park under the 2008 Parks Bond Resolution and 2017 Supplemental Bond Resolution. We would ask for a vote to ratify that.
Commissioner Weatherford.
Thank you. I want to, again, thank you for all your hard work on this. It's been a long time coming. Thank you so much, and motion to approve as presented.
We have a second?
Appreciate it.
Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0.
The second item, excuse me, is to ratify the action of the board taken in executive session, authorizing an agreement to purchase and sale with Suzanne S. Schmidt for the acquisition of property located at 451 Anderson Road for a public park under the 2008 Parks Bond Resolution and 2017 Supplemental Bond Resolution.
Commissioner Weatherford.
Motion to approve as presented, sir.
Have a second? Any discussion? Call the question. Okay. Could you do me a favor? Next time we present these parcels, could we have like a map also to show people where they all are? I mean, some know where, I know Commissioner Weatherford knows where they are. It'd just be nice to see in the county where they are. Just gives people a visual.
We'll
Okay.
do that.
All right, so thanks for the good work. Appreciate
Okay,
it.
thank you.
Okay, tab number 9.
Morning, Chairman, Commissioners, County Manager. Just want to remind you that this item is revised after our agenda prep discussion yesterday. Originally, we presented several constitutional officers and elected officials that had savings, and we were directed to bring this back and revise it to show those that identified the specific use that they were going to do with those savings. So with that being said, we're asking that the Board of Commissioners authorize the appropriation of the FY17 year-end savings within the budgets of the Sheriff's Office, the Tax Commissioner's Office, into the respective FY18 budgets in the amount of $819,851.54, authorize an additional fund balance appropriation in the amount of $515,645.75 for previously approved capital projects in the Cobb County Adult Detention Center, authorize an interfund transfer from the general fund to the Public Facilities Projects Fund to accommodate the renovations and the relocations of the Tax Commissioner's tag offices in the amount of $300,000, authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairman to execute the necessary documents.
First of all, I'll make a motion to approve. Yeah, then we have a discussion. I'm sorry, Commissioner Burrow? On the document. We're just looking at the numbers on your supporting documents here.
Yes, sir.
Bill. Yeah, go ahead, sure.
On the pink sheet, the revised,
Yes, ma'am.
what we discussed yesterday. For the tax commissioner, it's my understanding that this total savings was the 555, 497,
That is correct, ma'am.
but is she asking for all that back or just the 300?
The full amount in the 300 is for the renovation.
Okay, so,
The question is she gonna get all
Yes, sir.
$555,000 back, but she's gonna use $300,000 for the renovation,
That is correct,
and
sir.
the other $200,000 is for what?
It was just for the tax commissioner's operations.
Okay.
see, I thought,
We agreed
That's
to
not
the
what we agreed
we
to.
agreed to the $300,000 for the capital project.
Okay.
But everything else was, we had to identify what exactly those were for, because even though by law they're allowed to use that money, we have a fiduciary responsibility to show the taxpayer how their money's being spent, even though we're the ones allocating it.
Understood,
So the
sir.
question is, what are they doing with the other $200,000?
So then, am I hearing you correctly? You'd like to revise it to just do the 300 at this time?
For
and
now,
then- and
right.
then come back for the
Come back for the other
additional amount?
200,000, that's
Understood.
correct. So I'll make that motion to revise.
And
Understood.
second's okay with that.
All right.
Understood.
and does the 300,000 amount that's being requested include the security cameras and the improvements to the counters?
That is for the relocation and renovation only. So anything related to the relocation and renovation, it would cover, and it would be done out of the capital projects fund. So, yes, ma'am, I believe so.
Okay, because I just want to make sure that the security isn't part of that
And-
200 savings.
We can work with Carla Jackson's office, and if we need to bring back anything
Right.
additional to the renovation, we'd be happy to bring back as a
Okay.
separate
Yeah,
item.
The
if
the
that
intent of the board is to use that money for those projects, and if they have it within their budgeted amount, then there
Understood.
probably won't be a problem. I'm just opining that.
Understood.
Mr.
But-
Chairman, I'm sorry.
Sure, go ahead.
Might we state up to the amount of 500 something, as long as, for any capital improvements, anything not capital improvements would have to come back before. That way, if it's,
Yeah, I'm
there's
fine.
other capital things in there
Sure.
that we don't know about, it would. So what we're trying to do yesterday, I believe, was exclude personnel and fringe.
Right.
And then so any amount of that can be used for capital projects.
Okay, so what I'll revise it to is to accommodate renovations and relocations of the tax commissioner's office not to exceed $555,497 and to only include capital outlay.
Correct. And second's
Well-
good with that.
Okay,
The capital outlay
Renovation,
project.
but that's all
relocation.
capital outlay, right? All right, so we're good with that. Okay, so we have a discussion, any further discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0.
Thanks,
Thanks,
sir.
Bill. All right, so now we're on to tab number 10, no other further public comment, is that correct, Ms. Dance? Okay, and then we have one appointment, and Commissioner Cupid, that's yours.
Thank you. I move to reappoint Maxwell Rose to the Public Library Board of Trustees.
We have a second. Any discussion? Call the question. Passes 5-0. All right, so we're going to start with public comment this year. We'll start with Commissioner Cupid. I'm sorry.
Well, so is my newsletter. Okay. I don't mind starting. Just give me 1 second. All right, thank you, Chairman. Just want to say Happy New Year to everyone in the county and in the district, and look forward to working with you for yet another year. We have some things that are coming up in the district, starting with on Wednesday, we have a continuation of our community zoning meetings for Austell and Powder Springs cases. That will be at 6 p.m. at the South Cobb Recreation Center, located at 875 Riverside Parkway, formerly known as Six Flags Drive. Also, we have our annual event to celebrate the life of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. And this is done in conjunction with the Cobb County Branch NAACP. And this will be held on Monday, January 15th at 10 a.m. at Turner Chapel AME. And the public is encouraged to attend. There will also be a kid-friendly basketball game between members of our community through an organization referred to as CKC and Cobb County Police, and they're going to have a basketball game located at the Fair Oaks Recreation Center. And I believe Fair Oaks, that's in your commission district, I believe. District 1, yeah. Oh, is it? Sorry, they just changed all of our lines. That used to be District 1. I believe that's your district now, Commissioner Burrow? Wow, they just sliced us up. Anyway, everybody from Cobb is encouraged to attend and watch that.
I see you there.
We'll see you there. Okay, also people have been emailing our office and I'm sure the other commissioners with respect to our upcoming comprehensive plan amendment meeting. Just want to let you know that's going to be held at our typical zoning meeting time. No zoning cases will be heard on that day. However, there'll be an opportunity for the public to weigh in on the future land use map. And that's going to be held at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, January 16th. Lastly, I just want to thank South Cobb Lions, working with the Austell Community Task Force. Recently, they cleared 15 bags of litter off of Riverside Parkway, again, formerly known as Six Flags Drive, and just appreciate all the work that that organization has been doing to help keep our district clean.
Thank you, sir. Again, I'd like to wish everybody a Happy New Year, and make sure that you go to website to sign up for district newsletters. And again, for all our district commissioners, there's a lot of good information there, as Commissioner Cupid was telling you, about happenings in your particular district, as well as road closures, projects, et cetera. And I know everyone has fatigue from last night's game. It was a great game, and I won't tout too much who won or not.
Yeah, well, you can zoom in. You can zoom into that tie. It just happens to be an Alabama tie.
You get your chance,
At least
Commissioner.
we got a winner on ours. We got Auburn.
Those are Braves, it's not Alabama. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Burrow.
Okay.
It'll be a long year.
I too would like to wish everyone a happy, prosperous, and healthy new year. 2018 is looking good so far. The county offices will be closed Monday in honor of an observance of Martin Luther King Day, and there's several events going on, parade in Marietta, and as Commissioner Cupid mentioned, our celebration at Turner AME. Also, this Friday, the chairman is hosting the first town hall at the East Cobb Senior Center on the senior fees and county fees that we are proposing. So We ask that the public come out and give us your input. East Cobb Senior Center, 10 o'clock Friday. And I hope I didn't steal your thunder,
No,
but
you're fine.
we'll see you there.
The thunder will be Friday.
Yeah. Thank you.
Seriously,
How quick was that?
that's amazing.
Let's have a moment of silence.
Go Dogs.
Commissioner Ott?
It must be because she was sick.
Yeah.
First thing I want to do, I mean, everybody's wish you Happy New Year, but what I want to do is I want to thank the staff for a tremendous year last year. I know you went and did a whole lot of stuff and put up with a whole lot of things from all of us, so thank you for a great job. Today at 2 o'clock, we're going to do the ribbon cutting for the Sewell Mill Library and Cultural Arts Center. If you haven't been over there, it's a tremendous facility, and Jackie and Helen and all their staff did a tremendous job. So we'll be over there at 2 o'clock. Also, coming up, Public Safety is working on making safe zones for Craigslist and e-commerce safe trade areas at the various precincts. So that'll be coming, so kind of following our newsletters like Commissioner Weatherford said. And finally, I just want to thank the chairman and his wife for the tremendous effort that they and the East Cobb community did in bringing food to Precinct 4 before the holidays. And my final picture here, and this is the level of service that the folks in the county have.
Amazing.
This is from a house fire last week where the fire department went in and rescued 5 cats to include giving them oxygen so that they all survived.
Amazing. Yeah, that's a great picture. Thank you, Commissioner Ott. And again, I truly want to wish everybody a Happy New Year. And sadly, they postponed my State of the County address, at which I highlighted not only do we expect the best in Cobb County, but you're getting because of our staff. But I'll get a chance to do it later this month. And I also want to let everybody know that that speech will be online on the website, on the county website, plus the my weekly newsletter. So you don't necessarily have to pay to hear me talk. So that's probably a good thing for a lot of people. That's true. So with that, we're adjourned.